Hello everybody, welcome to Minecraft in my 20s, a new series I am aiming to vanguard on my channel, which is just as vague and open-ended as it sounds. My goals for the foreseeable future are going to be videos which are part video essay, part let's play, where I walk you through my progress in my first Minecraft Forever world, while in the background I talk about the game in general, nostalgia, adulthood, all the good stuff. Because Minecraft is a game that makes myself, and I'm sure all of us, think about so many different things. Practically though, it's a video you can sit down and watch, or a video you can have on in the background, or a bit of both. Perfect for cooking or cleaning. Just so you are clear about today's entertainment, here on screen is the survival mode progress I will be showing, as well as the things that have been on my mind. Sounds interesting? Great, let's proceed. Let's start by just walking through my survival forever world, trendy thing to call it, and explain what I have already and what I'm working on building and why. Starting at the world spawn, turn around, and nope, there's my base already. Rather uncomplicated. Here are some of the temporary farms I've been using next to the ever underutilized horse stables, a Shadow of the Colossus inspired base that an old work friend of mine started and seemingly never finished, a sloop from Sea of Thieves because it's my other favorite game. I have a thing for sandboxes, clearly. And let's forget about most of this already, because here are the stairs that lead up to where I actually spend most of my time. Here we have a Hobbit-inspired hillside tavern that I need to fully furnish, intending to be a potion brewing and storage area. Going up to the rooftop garden, we have a dugout house that I built for yet another friend who no longer plays the game. Holding out hope for this one, because we still play Sea of Thieves and Marvel Rivals together from time to time. And at the top of the hill we have my place. Pretty simple, nothing crazy. You've all definitely seen cooler houses before, but I love it a lot and I'm proud to have it, just like my first apartment in the real world. You may also see zombie villagers trapped precariously every now and then, and don't worry, those are for later. Now let's go visit the big work in progress, shall we? While we're on the way there, have you ever seen or played Minecraft Dungeons? It's a lot of fun and I would recommend it, being the game which inspired my current mega build and the focus of the series for the foreseeable future. Known in Dungeons simply as the Tower, serving as a roguelike ascent through a series of random and disconnected floors. So I love this idea, because in my mind it fits the bill of what a supersized dungeon in the Minecraft world should look like. And this might feel strange to say, but have you ever watched a series like Hermitcraft or something by Linksy or whoever and just thought to yourself that their builds almost feel like they don't belong in the world of Minecraft? Not to dock their skills or anything remotely close to it, because they are incredible players and that's not what I mean, but looking at what is currently in Minecraft survival. Structures, the art style, pseudo-story. Massive out-of-scale builds that require elytra to even get around just don't look or feel the same, right? Fortresses in the world of Minecraft look like this. Temples like this. Civilization like this. There's a degree of simplicity, abstractness, and general cubeness that I think should be followed if one wants to make a base feel Minecrafty. I think that Dungeons in general captures this very well with its level design. So, adapting the tower into my survival world, my goal is to build what amounts to a vertical recreation of every major biome in the game, housing villagers, practical farms, and recreations of well-known structures integrated into the architecture as you go up. What I have so far, which will be rewound and taken apart over the course of the next 10 minutes or so, is the two-tiered foundation of the tower, inspired by the two new cave biomes. We have a deep slate and dripstone themed floor, thank you for the encouragement, Trevor, which houses a lava cauldron farm, and going up we have a lush cave themed floor with a little more air and light, wherein lies my first redstone contraption, a brick smelter and auto crafter, which makes use of the lava from downstairs. So let's go back and show the adventures that built it, shall we? Unfortunately, we cannot go back so far, as most of this was constructed before I had the motivation to make a video out of it, i.e. my Sea of Thieves days where I was mainly just dabbling in modern Minecraft. So let's go back to when I first started getting focused again. With the finished construction of the upper pillars and archways, a tedious effort which required lots of manual smelting, mining, and moss farming. Let's talk about being 6th graders again for a little bit, alright? I remember staying up as late as I could, and getting up as early as I could to play Minecraft in those days. Always being so excited to get absorbed into the game however I was feeling, because for whatever reason, part of the Minecraft phenomenon for us all was just that it validated us as kids so much. Minecraft was to us digital Legos, digital playground games, digital lunch table talks, everything that kids, well, boys especially, need growing up. A place to be you in a parasocial realm where you feel like you are genuinely a part of something. It makes me feel a little bit of a loser to say it. Maybe that was why I never felt like I needed to get super involved with extracurriculars in my budding middle school days. Dad, I'm already in an after-school club. We act out roles and make up scenarios, we draw characters in comics, design machines, talk over guidebooks, and play in lighthearted competition. Nowadays, it's easier for older generations to accept that video games can be more than just a waste of time, but back then it felt like a lot of us really had to fight for, or sneak by, to play Minecraft nearly as much as we wanted. All in the aim of becoming great and famous members of the community, right? I mean, who didn't kinda want that, really? You had to be somebody who had it all figured out how you wanted to be a surgeon or a chemical engineer since you were 10 to not dream of being a Minecraft YouTuber growing up. We all remember the songs, the personalities, the legacies, for good and for ill, so naturally in my younger days I tried to fit right in. I made videos which were irredeemably terrible, wrote scripts for my own Minecraft parodies that thankfully I would never make, and I drew pictures of my Minecraft skin in a very comic book fashion. That, thankfully, is one of the things that I remember doing actually pretty well, and not getting made fun of for, and it obviously stuck with me. And then, sort of suddenly, Minecraft was no longer popular to like anymore. It got bought by Microsoft, the updates were starting to get lamer and lamer for a little while, and my friends were no longer excited by the idea of grinding till our made-up tuber group, which we called the Herobrine Resistance, would be just as well known as Team Crafted. I remember daydreaming about my hugely successful adult YouTuber career as a 12-year-old or whatever, and one of my less naive friends blandly stating, well, that's never gonna happen because Minecraft won't be big anymore by the time that we're grown up. And I believed him. And then I did start growing up and distanced myself from the game for a bit, became a huge Terraria nerd, got mildly competent at competitive shooters, leaved some Z's, and rerouted back to here, seeing that, well, my friend was wrong, and that the old block game is going strong through an extended prime. And what's especially cool about it is that since I've really only gone through a handful of solid 2-week Minecraft phases in between 2014 and now, I don't know jack about the modern game. I've never been to an ancient city or a trial chamber, have no idea what resin does, just found my first armor trim like a week ago, and I don't even know what trial ruins look like or what enchantments for the mace or the crossbow are. Have there been new potion effects in the game since I was a kid? Probably, I have no idea. One of my biggest okay, I need to play this again moments was the Happy Ghast, mainly on account of the Ghast being my big personality pet when I was a crappy child YouTuber. I had it in my head that my channel mascot would be a little Ghast wearing a Razer headset named the Gaming Ghast of Justice. Of course I had a plushie, which my wife now has at her desk in fact, which I actually would put a headset on top of and feature in my live webcam footage that like a whole 20 people saw. Anyways, I saw the Happy Ghast drop and said out loud, yeah, I would have loved this as a kid. And I'm sure I will find plenty of uses for my own mascot Ghast friend in this tower building project of mine. Anyways, it's hard for me to look at anything in modern Minecraft and not see it as something that I would have dreamt of as a kid. If you were to show me any of this stuff back then, the world generation, the new nether, woodland mansions plus village and pillage, especially the fact that Villager News, my favorite animated series, was being used to officially promote the game, and tell me that all of this was over a decade away from when I was playing at my peak, I would have gone mad with the wait. And here we are, with Minecraft being basically the game that I always wanted. For the most part, at least. Polar bears and everything they represent, you know, the whole let's add endangered animals to the game to raise awareness, but not make them do anything useful so players don't feel encouraged to kill them or put them in captivity trend is a little annoying. But it looks like that era of the game is getting passed up, finally. So now that the building is coming together a little better, let's talk about Redstone. See, for a while I've been the player who was opposed to automation. I always was the adventurer type of player, I guess, who wanted everything to be gotten from exploration. And well, that is still a big part of how I like to play the game, especially in this caves and cliffs era. Automation has a place, especially when you take on big projects. You can always have both sides of the coin, right? Though I'm quite the novice to Redstone, or at least most of what I used to know I forgot. So I started up a creative mode world and just started goofing off again. As I mentioned before, I wanted a super smelter and autocrafter for stone bricks, which would be easily enough to just replicate from a YouTube tutorial, but I wanted to complicate it a healthy amount, of course. Since I have the lava farm on the dripstone cave layer, and wanted to build the crafter on the lush caves layer, for no reason other than it being cool, I envisioned the systems on both levels to interact with just the activation of a single button. The intended function, and the final result, thankfully, was to have a minecart loaded up with lava buckets, have that activate the smelters and get the whole thing running, then have the machine sort out the buckets, feed them back down to the minecart going through a timed cycle, and have it return the empty buckets to the lava farm for another time while the cauldrons refill, and the crafter just cranks away in tandem. So all itemized, I needed a decently big rail system, because the child that used to build minecart roller coasters is still very much in me, a furnace array, crafter with a comparator circuit calibrated for when it has 4 stone in its interface. I tried doing this on a timed burst clock, but that was a terribly inefficient idea. Bro did not know how to use comparators. A simple item sorter, and then a timed rail circuit to close it out. Not really that complicated, all things considered, but definitely a learning experience for this Redstone novice. One of my favorite things to learn was how Redstone machines just like to stop working randomly. There was a fun situation where the prototype that I built in my creative world did perfectly fine, but had really weird issues in my survival world. Was it because of memory? The fact that I didn't build the second one exactly at the spawn? This one was facing north-south and the other east-west? I have no idea. When I heard that fixing Redstone is just a part of the building process, I now know what the people who said that meant. Fun stuff. Regardless, you want to know what the really ironic part of it was? The fact that the experience I gained over the resource trips in order to get enough iron for hoppers and blaze rods for the copper bulb was enough to fully enchant a diamond pickaxe, and I finally got Silk Touch. It turns out I don't even need a super smelter for any future quarrying that I'm gonna do. Well, at least not for stone bricks. But it was fun to do. I've always been very curious about Redstone. I'll make sure to play around with it much more as we build up and up. That all out of the way, with the bricks I got from the tests I had to run, it's time to finish this floor finally. Arches here and there, some crazy open windows, skylights and terraces for the next floor, and a healthy amount of vegetation just to make it look like some spores crept into the machine space to finish off this whole functional area. I also decorated the machine itself just to make things look a little bit more rustic and physically grounded, with some trapdoors to semi-conceal the very ugly circuitry below. In case something breaks again, I can use them to crawl into the depths of the thing like some greasy plumber, so there's that for immersion. On the outside, I decided to mess around with quartz, and I think that it looks pretty interesting. It gives me more use out of the nether for the whole build, so no complaining there. It'll be cool to see how the outside looks as the floors stack and stack, and I'm probably going to mess with the symmetry a ton just to add some healthy wonk to the tower. But since I'm very much a design as I go kind of person, who knows what that's really going to look like yet. Anyways, that about wraps it up for today. The next episode, I'm going to start moving some villagers into the tower and building a mini recreation of some plains and a forest, just to start the biomes off familiar and easy. Also, as I'm sure you've noticed, texture packs have been switching around as I've been playing, which is usually what I do once I get locked back into the game. I'm a big fan of the Sphax textures, and I ran both their iconic pack and the less well-known, more faithful to vanilla version over the course of the video, both of which I will link below for you. Thanks everybody for taking a good peek into my corner of the Minecraft multiverse. Let's build and talk another time.